What's up? So, I figure it's finally time to talk about this new Green Day album, Saviors. A lot of these albums from bands that I'm clearly into and clearly have talked a lot about over the last, 20 years or whatever. A lot of the albums, when they drop, I tend to do a review pretty quickly on them because I can usually get a good read on them pretty much immediately. But with this album, I really felt like it needed more time. And frankly, I'm glad I didn't rush into any sort of real hard opinions on it. For example, like the most recent Blink album, I pretty much knew immediately the way that I felt about most of those songs. Same goes for the Sum 41 album, Heaven and Hell. I just knew that I felt a certain way and it was unlikely to change. This Green Day album, Saviors, is really a grower. I really liked the singles as they came out. For the most part, The American Dream is Killing Me. That was a pretty good song. What else did we have? Dilemma I really liked a lot, and that's still one of my favorite songs on the album. The only single so far that I didn't really like was One-Eyed Bastard, and a lot of people have made comparisons to some Pink song, and I can completely see that. I really just think that it's just radio music. It doesn't really sound like Green Day. I feel like they could have easily sold that to some other artist to record and be done with. What else? There was Look Ma No Brains. I didn't really pay much attention to that song. It was a pretty straightforward song that didn't really have a lot going on with it. It's just, your standard just straight radio punk sort of stuff. And it was fine. I didn't really think there was anything bad about it. But it wasn't all that exciting either. But a lot of these songs in general, singles or not, I feel like they really hold up really well. And they do this sort of thing lately where they kind of channel like these 50s and 60s music kind of vibes to their music while still keeping it Green Day, And someone had brought that up to me in a live video I was doing on Instagram, and it clicked. I was like, yeah, I can definitely hear like those 50s, 60s influences in there, and I think it's cool. I don't think a lot of bands, at least on the radio, are really doing that sort of thing, and I think that Green Day can really pull that off. That being said, there are a couple songs that I feel like we could probably drop entirely from the album. One of them was One-Eyed Bastard, yeah. And the other one was Coma City. I really don't find that song to really bring much to the table. I really don't think it's very good. Everything else, though, I think is great. I really like Father to a Son. That one is a slower one, but I think it's great. Living in the 20s, a lot of bands are doing this sort of thing where they're talking about, going through everything that's happening right now with, post-COVID and the state of America right now. And of course, Green Day of all bands are going to jump on that as well. But I think they did a good job on it. 1981, I think, was great. I feel like that one is almost along the same lines as Look Ma No Brains, but I feel like it just kind of was more of a home run than the other one. Goodnight Adeline is another like mid-tempo, solid song. I think it's got a great chorus. Strange Days Are Here to Stay. That song's been stuck in my head for a while now. I just released a cover of that song and really liked it. It's got a great little riff in there. Yeah, really like that one. That one, honestly, that one and maybe a couple others remind me of sort of like spiritual successors to some of the songs on American Idiot, and like Letter Bomb, for example. There's definitely some of that sort of vibe to it. And if this was the album that came out right after American Idiot, I probably would have stayed more of an active fan of Green Day, to be completely honest, because the album that followed, what was it, 21st Century Breakdown, there's some decent songs on that album, but I don't really think it stands as high as this one. I feel like this album, just as a whole, is a better, more focused album. And yeah, I don't really have many negatives to say about it. A lot of people I'm seeing are agreeing. They think that it's a grower. You really got to give it some time, but it really holds up pretty well. I did just find out, because I was looking up the track list so I can reference some songs. I realized that they had a Japanese bonus track called Fever. I listened to that just before this video, and I thought it was decent, but I can see it not making the album. But it's cool that it's out there. I didn't really feel like it needed to be in the original, you know, final cut of the album. But yeah, overall, I mean, I think it's solid. I feel like it's better than a lot of the albums that's come out in the last 10 or 15 years for Green Day. And if you haven't checked it out, I think you should. You know, it's a solid 15 songs. If you're a Green Day fan or not, you know, I think that it's definitely got a lot to offer. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. And I'm glad I didn't give it a quick review right when it came out. You know, some albums I can get away with that, you know, because, you know, the sooner you do it, the more views you're going to get, the more attention the video is going to get. So it's one of those things where, like, you know, I'm kind of eager to jump at it, you know, just to kind of stay relevant. But some of these albums, like this one specifically, definitely deserve a little bit more time. So keep that in mind. That's all I really have to say about it. And let me know what you think. If you want me to do any other CD reviews or anything like that, definitely leave them below, and I could probably get to them pretty soon. So I'll see you next time. Later.